Hello again. This time I'm going to take you on a little trip out to a very small village on the Wirral, right on the border between England and Wales. And it's right down at the far end of the Wirral Peninsula. I'll blab on about it during the course of the video, but essentially things to remember are that it was mentioned in the Domesday Book, so it goes right back to early Norman period. And probably there was a settlement there long before the Normans, to be honest with you. Photographically, I've not gone into any great detail about the images that you will see. I had one camera and lens combination with me, my trusty Olympus EM1 Mark II with the 12-50 zoom lens. As I explained in the video, there were good reasons for that. But I haven't actually gone into detail about any of the compositions that I took. I think you will find them to be pretty much self-explanatory, to be honest with you. And the reason that I wanted to give you this little sort of preamble, waffle, for want of a better expression, is that sometimes it's a good idea to just go out to a location that you may be well familiar with, and not to actually try and push yourself, stretch the features in your camera too much. Just go back to actually enjoying what this wonderful medium, hobby, pastime, profession is all about. And that is capturing images that you as an individual are pleased with. I've often said that if you've got a photograph and you like it, it is a good photograph, and I don't care what anybody else says. The most important thing is that you are happy with it. Don't be kidded, fooled into thinking that you've got to be ultra experimental. Sometimes simple approaches are the best. Now, this particular location, I hope you will agree, is very photogenic. It was pretty easy to photograph. So some of the interior shots that you will see were taken at an ISO of about 3.2 or 6,400. And with the little micro 4/3 sensor, there is a little bit of noise, but you know what? It doesn't bother me. I really don't care. Let me know what you think when you have a look at the results. But enough of my preamble. Let's take you straight over to the video and hopefully enjoy what you're about to see. Welcome to the very small village of Shottock, and in particular to the interior of this wonderful old church, St. Michael's. The name is actually spelt Shotwick, but we pronounce it Shottock. And I'll take you for a tour outside as well, but this is the Norman church of St. Michael. The only surviving Norman part of the church is this wonderful arch behind me over the main entrance doorway. So most of the church was remodeled and rebuilt in the 14th century. And it is just a beautiful, beautiful old church. One of the interesting features, well, interesting to me anyway, are the box pews, which each family would have had their own allocated number. Some of them even still have brass plaques on them. There we have the font, 15th century font. And I believe the same is true of the actual main door there, which is also 15th century. So the arch above it is Norman. That's the oldest existing part of the church. But the door itself is 15th century. Just take a walk up the aisle now. And we've even been blessed with some sunshine now, after a very grey start. And this is now the bell tower. With the ropes there, all neatly stowed out of the way. There are more than 2 bells in there, but the 2 oldest ones are dated 1616 and 1621. And the now redundant winding chain for the clock is there, and the weight is resting on the floor. And if you think people are being lazy, no, they're not. The clock mechanism has been electrified, so the mechanical winding is now redundant. Sorry. I first came here in the 1970s with a work colleague who was just showing me around, and I've come back at very irregular periods over the intervening years. It's just full of details. Look at this, LW. And each and every one of these box pews is numbered, so you would know which one was your allocated pew. It's beautiful. Some more detail on one of the box pews here. If you're wondering what I'm using to film this, by the way, I've got the little Godox LED 6R mounted on top of the GoPro, which I appreciate will give very harsh lighting, but as you can also hopefully appreciate, the interior of the church is rather dark. Anyway, time I took you on the outside. We're in the porch of the church now, and if you're wondering what these vertical scratches, for want of a better word, are in the stones, they were made by archers sharpening their arrows, dating back to a time when it was the law for every able-bodied man to actually know how to use a longbow. Most unusual feature. Now just look at this weather. Brilliant, beautiful sunshine. Now, as I said, Shottock is mentioned in the Domesday Book and is famous for many reasons, not least of which is the fact that at least 2 of our kings departed from here on their way over to Ireland to quell the Irish rebellion, and also Edward I sailed from here to Wales when he was conquering the Welsh. Now, in 2023, Shottock is absolutely nowhere near the River Dee. I'm going to take you over into the corner of the graveyard and hopefully show you exactly what I mean. Because at one time this was a busy port. obviously, with important people heading off to foreign lands. Hopefully there in the distance you can see all the reclaimed land as the Dee silted up. Shottock became very much a backwater and is now absolutely probably a mile and a half, 2 miles away from the river. What a picturesque, quintessentially English church this is. With regard to the stills that I'm shooting today, I've got the EM1 Mark II with just the 12 to 50 lens. I needed to travel light because this is a very difficult place to get to using public transport. Doesn't it look glorious in the morning sunshine? It was very wet earlier on. I am pleased to say that the sun has come out. We've got blue skies, so I'm going to do a few more stills because when I first got here, no detail in the sky whatsoever. So I'll catch up with you in a minute or two. When I said that Shottock was a small village, I really did mean that. Visible from the church are really only 3 houses. And I think the population at the moment, according to the census, is around about 120, maybe even fewer than that. There are some buildings further along down the lane, but absolutely tiny place. there we are. That trip to Shattuck, by the way, was made the week before Armistice Day, Remembrance Sunday, if you like. Hence the decoration in the church, all the poppies everywhere. I can't guarantee it, but certainly in a week or two's time, I think almost certainly before Christmas, I'm going to do a video about the quandary that I have put myself in. As those of you that have watched the channel of late, you will know that my everyday go everywhere lens is the Zuiko 12 to 50 easy, in other words, power zoom lens. Love it, absolutely love it. And I've had it since the EM10 that I bought originally. And if I'm going to go anywhere, chances are I will take the 12 to 50 Zuiko zoom lens with me. The quandary that I have put myself in, and I've only got myself to blame, is that recently I purchased its slightly larger cousin, the 12 to 40 2.8 Pro Zuiko lens. I bought it essentially because I got it at a knockdown price. Not new, it was off a very well-known internet auction site. If I decide to sell it, I will get more back for it than I paid for it, let's put it that way. It's a lovely mint example, complete with the hood. Quite often you see these minus the hood. It's boxed and everything. I've got the pouch with it, all that malarkey's there. So I'm now in a quandary. I have two lenses very close in specification. The 12 to 40, of course, is 2.8 throughout its range. This is, what is it, 3.5 to 6.3, I think, something like that. I'll correct myself if I'm wrong. This, on the other hand, has a dedicated close focusing button, i.e. macro, and it is also a power zoom, which is useful to have when I'm doing video. Now, I don't do a lot of video using the EM1. On the other hand, the 12 to 40, it's 2.8 straight through, the aperture doesn't change. It does focus pretty darn close, not quite as close as the 12 to 50. It's a little bit chunkier, as you might expect, no longer, but it does trombone as you zoom, which this one, the 12 to 50, does not do. So I'm in a real quandary. I now have to decide what I'm going to do with these two. Is there any point in hanging on to both of them? And in actual fact, it's probably a little bit worse than that, because I've got the EM1 Mark I, the original, which isn't being used. Do I sell that with the 12 to 50 or with the 12 to 40? Oh gosh, decisions. If you'd like to give me hints and tips, suggestions, tell me what an idiot I've been, please put them down below in the comments. But in a couple of weeks' time, well, certainly a couple of videos' time, I'm going to give you my thoughts on these two. And depending on what you guys say, I'll let you know what I'm deciding to do. Do I keep both? Do I sell the 12 to 50? Do I sell the 12 to 40? I do get myself into a pickle sometimes. Anyway, for now, you know very well what I'm going to say. Enjoy your photography. Keep it simple. Don't stress yourself. Don't stretch the camera too much all the time. You'll get a lot more enjoyment that way. In the meantime, enjoy your photography. Stay happy, stay fit, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye for now.